I had never really put much thought into running across Adachi outside of the gym. What was I supposed to do here? Seeing how she was looking at me but not moving, it was fair to assume that Adachi was just as confused as I was. Either way, we couldn't just stand there staring at each other forever. I averted my gaze. In the end, we ended up pretending to not know one another. I walked past her like she wasn't even there. Adachi also didn't read me. Was she maybe mad that I was ignoring her? I looked over my shoulders, and our eyes met, and a few seconds later, we turned our faces away, nearly at the same time. What was this emotion I felt, this restlessness and embarrassment? I mean, it wasn't like we were a couple trying to keep the fact that we were going out a secret. Well, I suppose I might have shared some nuances. Who was that girl? I think I've seen her in class. Like, in April? Nagafuji asked me while tucking her dangly hair behind her ear. Seriously? Again? You ask who she is every time we see her, Hino pointed out. Do I? She replied back. Yeah, I guess she wasn't really the thinking type. She's Adachi, from her class. She's a real delinquent, one recognized by the teachers. Hino added onto my simple explanation. You had to be recognized by a teacher to be a delinquent? A delinquent, huh? So, Shimamura's comrade? Who knows? From Nagafuji's perspective, even I was a delinquent. The only difference between us was that I came to class every once in a while Adachi never did. In other words, no such things as a diligent delinquent. Well, there was a slight difference. Adachi looked tough, like she was going to beat you up, whereas I couldn't stop giving off the impression that I was constantly spacing out, like an iguana passing the day in the sun, just sitting there, idling away instead of going to class. What might a bad girl like her have been doing in a place like this? I casually took one more look over my shoulder, only to find that Adachi had already ridden off. The next day was Wednesday. There was still a lot of the week left. Adachi wasn't showing up. Even after first period ended and the class that had been using the gym left, I remained alone on the second floor. It was cloudy today, and no light came through the windows. The pleasant weather made it easy to just sit there and idle. Nevertheless, by third period, even I was beginning to get bored. After waiting until the period started and confirming that no one had come to the gym, I grabbed a table tennis racket. I then picked up an orange ping pong ball that had been left on the floor and hit it towards the wall. It bounced once, hit the wall, and flew back towards me. I hit again. Wall tennis, I think this was called. Practicing by myself in secret would widen the skill gap between me and Adachi. Although, I suppose it had already been pretty wide with her handicapping herself by sticking to the weird serve she had learned. I continued hitting the ball back towards the wall, every now and then taking a glance at the stairs at the landing. Adachi wasn't coming, was she? She had come here pretty much daily since we'd met, so her randomly not showing up made me feel pretty restless. There had also been that incident yesterday after school, and I couldn't help but be a little worried. Still, it was probably, no, definitely, an unnecessary worry. If what happened yesterday really had caused Adachi to never come here again, the regret will haunt me for the rest of my life. Well, if not my whole life, then at least for half a year. After that, we'd switch classes, and the memories will fade away like ink. I had already parted ways with and forgotten many friends before meeting Adachi, Hino, and Nagafuji. You come to the surface for a quick breather before sinking deep, deep down. Then after everything around you disappears and you start to suffocate, you aim for the surface again. That was my impression of human relationships. Oops. I heard the sound of someone coming up the stairs. I stopped hitting the ball and stood still on the spot, waiting to see who it was. Maybe Adachi? Maybe a teacher. Quite the nerve-wracking moment. Or so I thought, until I heard the characteristic sound of indoor shoes and realized that it was a student. As you have it, the one climbing the stairs had been Adachi. She noticed me and smiled, relievedly. There was something slightly off about her this time. She wasn't carrying her bag with her. Yo, a late start today, huh? Oh no, I was thinking about leaving already. I just came to check. Adachi combed her hair with her hand as she said this. Already? It wasn't even noon yet. Not only that, if she was leaving, was it fair to assume that she'd been in school for at least some time? I heard a ping pong ball bouncing too. Sitting at her usual spot, Adachi glanced at my hand. Had the sounds really been loud enough to be heard that far away? I placed the racket and ball on the table and sat down. Then, looking at Adachi, I spoke. I saw you yesterday. Yep, you did. She nodded back, confirming my statement. An awkward silence fell between us. I felt strangely self-conscious, like this one time back in elementary school when I went to eat out with my family and a kid from my class was there at the restaurant. These sorts of pauses in the conversation were a little more common with Adachi, I found. Perhaps the reason for it was that I had a hard time deciding how close of friends I wanted to be with her. That word, friend, covered a wide spectrum of possibilities. Where's your bag? In my bag's basket. I didn't want it to carry around, so I left it there. From the looks of it, she didn't have her phone or wallet with her either. I guess she really was planning on leaving right away. Still, that was pretty careless. I wasn't going to tell her that, of course. I had a feeling she'd laugh and ask if I was her mom or something if I did. I didn't know you came to school by bike. Oh, we never talk about that? I play with my bike keys every now and then, but I guess you didn't notice. As she said this, Adachi spun the keys she had been holding around the keychain, which seemed to be a purple dog, or maybe a cow. I could see that it had 4 legs, but the exact species was harder to determine. Oh, I guess you might have. I wasn't really paying attention. We both fell silent after I said that. There should definitely have been other things for us to talk about, but I just couldn't find the words. Adachi seemed to be in a similar situation. She looked up at the window in front of us and squinted. Well, I'm going now, Adachi said before standing up. Oh, okay, I replied back while nodding sluggishly. Adachi brushed the back of her skirt lightly and began walking towards the stairs while spinning her keys. What had she come here for, I wondered. Well, obviously just to drop by. Hey, Adachi! Still sitting, I addressed Adachi, her back turned towards me. She looked over her shoulder, puzzled. Which will you prefer? Attending class or going home together? Why had I asked that? I didn't really know myself. However, there was a number of empty voids inside me which functioned as the organ of my mind. A few of them had appealed to me to do so. It's not enough. That feeling, resembling hunger, had gently nudged me forward. While it might actually have been hunger, it wasn't too long till the lunch break after all. Adachi was taken back slightly. That surprise quickly passed, however, like a gust of wind, after which she returned to her calm self. Well, I guess I can go somewhere and kill time until school's over. She had chosen the latter. Well, obviously, there was no way Adachi was going to class. Seeing how I knew that from the get-go, there wasn't really any point setting up 2 options. I'll wait for you at the place from yesterday. Okay, got it. Adachi waved her hand, and I felt compelled to do the same. There was something kind of strange about it. Her killing time outside of school and then going home with me. Yeah, it was definitely weird, but funny at the same time. The proposal got me all excited, and I found myself laughing as I saw Adachi off. Though I always hoped the school would end faster, today, that wish was 20% stronger. Nagafuji was part of a club whereas me and Hino weren't, and so it was common for us two to be left behind and leave school together. Today wasn't one of those days, however. I had something planned as well. With a quick see ya, I left Hino. I'm gonna die of loneliness like a rabbit, she pleaded. Nonetheless, the shoe rack was where we separated. What I like about those two was that even though they might have given me advice every now and then, that was as far as I ever went. Never did they interfere in my affairs in an attempt to rehabilitate me or anything like that. Let the bad people be evil. As I put my outdoor shoes and exit school, I noticed that it had started raining lightly. Not good. My walk quickly turned into a brisk jog. I didn't have an umbrella or anything with me, and by the time I exited through the school gate, that jog had further escalated into a run. Was Adachi already waiting for me? The thought of that made me feel bad, and even if it hadn't been raining, I still probably would have run.